A team needed 4 goals. They scored 6. Another team simply stopped playing in the middle of a World Cup match. And in one of the most absurd moments in history, a man invaded the pitch and managed to cancel a goal. These are not made-up stories. All of this happened in front of millions of people, live, with no edits. Football has always been unpredictable, but these moments seem to go beyond any logical limit. These are not just mistakes or controversial decisions. They are situations that, when you revisit them today, feel uncomfortable, as if something was off. But no one really stopped to question it. And the strangest part is not what happened. It is what came after. These matches were never officially erased, never removed from records, but somehow they were forgotten, rarely discussed, almost ignored, as if they were too inconvenient to be remembered. And that is exactly what makes all of this even more unsettling. Because when something absurd happens and no one talks about it, the question changes. It is no longer what happened. It becomes, why does no one want to talk about it? If these were isolated cases, it would be easier to accept. One mistake here, another there, human error. But the problem is, there is a pattern. In every one of these matches, something feels off. A strange detail, an unusual behavior, something that goes unnoticed at the moment, but later becomes impossible to ignore. And there is another unsettling common factor: the context. These are not ordinary matches. They are decisive moments, high-pressure situations, qualification on the line, entire countries watching. And it is exactly in these moments that the unexplained begins to appear. What makes this even more disturbing is that nothing is hidden. The footage exists, the videos are available. And still, these cases were never explored the way they should have been. As if they were just another controversy, when in reality they seem like something much bigger. And this is where everything starts to shift. Because the first case is not just about football, it involves pressure, power, and a result that many people still cannot accept. A match where a team needed a miracle and delivered something even more suspicious. The equation was simple. Argentina needed to win by at least 4 goals to reach the final. A difficult, unlikely scenario. The kind of situation that almost never happens. But on that day, the unlikely did not just happen. It was exceeded. The final score was 6-0. And that is when things started to feel strange. From the very beginning, something seemed off. Peru, a team that had shown quality throughout the tournament, barely reacted. Unusual defensive mistakes, low intensity, no real resistance. On the other side, Argentina played as if nothing could stop them. And as the goals kept coming, the discomfort kept growing. But there is one detail that changes everything: the context. The country was under a military dictatorship, and the pressure to win the World Cup at home was enormous. Over time, rumors began to surface. Stories of political influence, possible arrangements, unanswered questions. Nothing was ever officially proven, but nothing was ever fully explained either. And maybe that is what makes this match so unsettling. It is not just the scoreline. It is the feeling that the result did not surprise those behind the scenes, only those watching. And when that happens, the game stops being just football. As the years passed, that result stopped being seen as impressive and started being questioned. Journalists, fans, and even people connected to the match began to look back with doubt, because when too many strange things happen at the same time, they stop looking like coincidence. Some theories suggest political agreements. Others mention indirect pressure. None of it was ever officially confirmed. But the issue is not proof. It is the accumulation. The number of factors that together become difficult to ignore. And there is something even more unsettling: the silence. This match never led to real consequences. There was no deep investigation. It was simply accepted, as if moving on was easier than asking questions. And that is exactly why this case still feels alive today. Not because of answers, but because of the lack of them. Because when a match raises more questions than explanations, it never truly ends. Now imagine watching a World Cup match and realizing that both teams have decided to stop competing. Not because of fatigue, not because of lack of skill, but because the result on the field is too convenient for both. West Germany scored early, 1-0, a simple scoreline but a perfect one. Because with that result, both Germany and Austria would qualify. And who paid the price? Algeria, who had already done their job and could only watch. And then something surreal happened. The players started passing the ball around with no intention, no attack, no pressure, no urgency. As if a silent agreement was being carried out in front of the entire world. And meanwhile, an entire nation watched their qualification disappear. No mistake, no fight, no chance. Just watching, with no way to react. The reaction was immediate. Booing, outrage, disbelief. Fans could not believe what they were witnessing. Commentators openly criticized it. And the match was given a name that still echoes today. The Disgrace of Gijón. Because this was not just a bad game, it was a complete breakdown of the spirit of the sport. There was no mistake, there was a decision, and that makes it even more uncomfortable. The pressure became so intense that FIFA was forced to act. From that moment on, decisive matches would be played at the same time. A direct rule change caused by that game. But even with the change, the mark remained. Because unlike other scandals, this one was not hidden, it was obvious, and even so, it still happened. If you think you have seen everything, this moment still feels unreal. During a World Cup match, a goal is scored, a normal, valid play. Everything should continue. But suddenly everything stops. A man walks onto the pitch, straight from the stands, and approaches the referee. This was not just any fan, it was a sheikh, a powerful figure. He claimed his players had stopped because they heard a whistle from the crowd. And then something happened that no one expected. The referee listened just like that. The goal was disallowed. In the middle of a World Cup match. No logic, no precedent, just an unbelievable decision happening in front of everyone. And for a few moments, it felt like the rules no longer existed. As if football had lost control. After all of this, it would be easy to think these moments belong to the past. But the unsettling truth is, they did not disappear. They evolved. They became more subtle, harder to notice. Because sometimes the strangest things are not the ones that shock you, but the ones that go unnoticed. A detail, a moment, something no one questions at the time, but later does not make sense. And that is exactly what makes the next case so different. There was no invasion, no immediate chaos. The match continued normally, but there was one moment, one detail that almost no one saw, and it changed everything. Brazil was in control, the favorite, dominating the match. And then in the final minutes, a penalty was awarded to Norway. A quick, confusing moment, almost invisible. And the strangest part was the reaction. There was no immediate shock, no clear replay. The match continued. The goal was scored, and everything changed. Only later did the images emerge. Different angles, proof that the contact did exist. But the question remained, why was it not clearly shown at the time? Why did it all feel like it happened without full understanding? And maybe that is the most unsettling part of all. Because when you do not see it, you do not question it. 4 matches, 4 different moments, decades apart. And yet, they all leave the same feeling. Something is not quite right. Maybe they are coincidences, maybe just human error. But when you put everything together, the doubt appears. And it does not go away easily, because football is built on emotion, passion, and unpredictability. But it also involves pressure, power, and influence. And in certain moments, those things seem to collide. In the end, it is not about proving what happened. It is about what you believe. So now tell me, which of these matches feels the most suspicious to you? And if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to follow the channel, because there is still a lot they never told you.